So it's my next gym tip video, as I'm beginning my cut now. Definitely need to get time. Anyway, this gym tip video is just common sense, gym etiquette, and about having a bit of respect in the gym. It's a shared space. So I was in the gym recently, and I was using I use a lot of gyms, but this particular instance, I was using a chain gym, and it's actually good for a chain gym. A lot of the members there are very good, decent. I've made a lot of friends there, get along with a lot of people. So nothing bad to say, but I came in and I was planning to do squats this day, other stuff, it was leg day, but squats was on the agenda. And when I'm coming into the gym, there's someone on the deadlift portion of the stand. Now, it's very common in this gym, there's only one squat stand, so they'll have someone doing deadlifts, and it's very common, you're a good 10, 12 feet away from the bit in front, off the stand, where they'll do squats. So out of respect, I always say to people, hey, are you using the squat stand? So I go in, and there's a female there with, which it does become relevant, some of the most horrendous technique I've seen doing deadlifts. And usually when it's so bad, I mean, her back was so rounded and like, it was just, she was deadlifting like this. And man, when you know someone's going to get hurt, usually I'd actually give a bit of advice for this and try and help them. But I come into the gym and she's got like a little tripod set up, and I try not to be judgmental, but when you know someone's got a bad attitude from the start, so I come into the gym and I go over and I go, hey, excuse me, are you using the squat stand? Does it look like I'm using it? So like, I'll drop the comment even though you've got a bit of a bad attitude. Not going to kick off over that, but yeah, whatever. Okay, so I go to the squat stand and then suddenly she comes up to me and goes, I'm deadlifting, you know. I went, yeah. Okay. So she goes, yeah. So I start loading the squat stand up and she looks at me and says, yeah, I'm deadlifting. So I said, yeah, no, I don't care. I do not care that you're deadlifting. No interest at all. Nothing to me. So her face at this shock that I said, yeah, I don't care that you're deadlifting, was just like that. Like I should be somehow remotely interested in what she was doing. So yeah, I just don't care. So she goes, yeah, but you're using the squat rack. So I said, yeah, I'm using the squat rack because you're not squatting. No one's squatting. And she goes, but what if I want a deadlift where you're squatting? I said, oh, no, don't worry. I'm more than respectful. I've done this with loads of people. I've deadlifted nearly 300 kg in that gym where people have squatted in front of me. And what I tend to do is I let them do their set, or I'll do my set, then they go do their set. Same with the squat. If it's the other way around, I've done heavy squats there, 240, 250, and someone's deadlifted behind me, and we've got along fine. I've done this with maybe 100 females, 700 males. Nothing, it's not a big deal at all. If you're doing your deadlift set, yeah, I can think maybe it's a bit off-putting, even though I'm about 8 feet in front of you and it really shouldn't be. But, people have squatted, people have deadlifted directly behind me. Well, I've been squatting, and they've deadlifted directly in front of me. Well, I've been behind me, so I've been squatting heavy weights. So, But yeah, she's got a bit of a distraction problem. Yeah, it's cool. I get her, and she's just shocked. This girl is shocked. So I start loading up the bar to do squats, and she goes to the toilet or to do whatever it is, and she just like storms to the thingy one. And the girl at the side of me is using the leg press, and she turns to me and goes, yeah, so I came in here to use that leg press because I'm glad you talked to her the way you did. I said, yeah, why is that? And she goes, when I came here, I was like, to use the leg press, and she came over at me, and the leg press would be like right over there. It's nowhere near. And she comes up to her and goes, yeah, I'm deadlifting. And the girl was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm not using the deadlift. She goes, I'm using the leg press. But she was like, yeah, it puts me off because I might see out the corner of my eye. There's no way you could, unless you were deadlifting like this. There's no way you could. So it was just pure stupidity by this girl. So she comes back out with this horrendous attitude, She comes back out and she does it down, and I've done a set of squats. I've just done like the empty bar, just get a bit of blood flowing, throw on the 20 kilos, going to do 16x, because I like to do that. I like to go like, for example, I'll go 60, 100, 140, 180, 220, etc. Just get nice blood pumped in as I go up. So I'll do a few warm-ups for my knees. So she comes behind me, does the girl, and she's like, right, okay. So she does this awful deadlift with this awful form. And I thought, attitude-wise, I'm not even going to bother trying to help her because, she doesn't want it. Pardon me, sorry. She doesn't appreciate it. It's pointless doing it. So I go back up to the squat stand, do my 60 kilo set, load 100 on. And she comes up to me and goes, I'm not a bodybuilder about herself. I went, right. She goes, I'm a strong woman. So I'm like, well, you're not, because you're deadlifting 50 kilos with the worst technique I've seen in my life. You're not a strong woman. You know, let's be honest, but okay. So I was like, yeah, okay, if that's what you're training for. She goes, yeah. She goes, I don't really like you in front of me. So I said, well, sorry, sweetheart, but, you know, that's what everyone does here, and I'm not going to move. So, you know, so she's like, oh. So she then proceeds to roll the standoff onto the unmatted area of the gym, going in front of other people, just being a fucking idiot, really, to do it. She does her sets. I continue warming up, and I'm laughing at her at this point. I'm thinking, God, what a fucking retard, you know. She set up a little tripod, and she's going like this with this fucking horrendous attitude, probably insulting me on there to her friends because she's going on the phone between it and that, and she's giving me these evil eyes and that, and the girl at the side of me is laughing. The training partner I have is laughing, and we're like, yeah, what an idiot, you know. And I'm laughing now because I'm just like, what a fucking muppet. And then she goes off. She gets up. And no word of a lie, she leaves her weights loaded. She just acts like a bitch. She walks away. And she goes to the dumbbell area. And as she's walking to the dumbbell area, she turns to this guy who's setting up the Smith Machine bench. And she goes, I'm a strong woman, you know. Yeah. And she just does the same thing to him. And she's going around taking these selfies. And what made it hilarious was, as I'm going to the toilet, she'd like, so about 20 minutes later, she's lost her interest in me now. And she's going, she's skinny. She should wear a bra. She's got no ass. Look at her showing her ass off in the gym. You know, has she seen how short her shorts are? Oh, you can see her boobs in that. And she's insulting every girl, calling them too skinny to her. Insulting the men. That'd be nasty. She's an obese woman. And it was like, you're probably in one of the worst people in the gym for technique. You're in very unhealthy shape. So to be going around insulting people anyway, who are just trying to better themselves and do better, just shows the type of person you are. But it just made me laugh because she left the gym with this, like, on her high horse. And it's like, I try not to be thin, because I'm not a big Joey Swole fan, actually. I think sometimes he's a muppet with some of the stuff he does, and he's in the wrong as well. Usually he's in the right about 80% of the time. But it's like, sometimes I think, you know, you need to hear this. You're deadlifting 50 kg with with no arch in your back, with a back that is completely rounded, with horrendous technique. You're insulting overweight girls, but you're fatter than them. You're insulting skinny girls. You're insulting girls with muscle. You're insulting all the men in the gym, and you're the most horrendous person in there, physically as well as inside emotionally, with the way you're acting. And I think sometimes these people need to be told, and it sounds nasty, this, look, you're fat, you're ugly, and you're not any good in the gym. You've got a bad attitude. Because you can't go around talking to people that way and not expecting to get the same shit back to you. And it was funny, I haven't seen her since. I'm pretty sure I will see her again. But her entire attitude, and I spoke to like 5 people who've all like seen her in the gym, so she just literally, she'll go there and she complains, oh, you're in my view, you're doing this, you're blocking my camera, and it's like, you know, and the girl wasn't young as well. Well, she was young, but I'd say she was about 28 to 30, you know, grow up, you know, it's not like you're 12, you know, grow up. And unfortunately, I'm seeing more and more of this bullshit in the gym nowadays, and it's just fucking ridiculous, you know. We're all there to get better, and, you know, I'll go into the gym, and I don't care if you're fat, I don't care if you're skinny, you know, we're all going to improve ourselves. You know, if you need help to lose weight, I'll help you. If you need help to put muscle on, I'll help you the best I can, just like I'd hope someone would help me. But it's just a mad, sad world we live in now. And I think sometimes you've got to pull the part of being nice and, like, politically correct, because, like, people are like, don't be an arsehole, don't be an arsehole, but sometimes you need an arsehole to tell someone like her the truth about her state, because you're living in delusions, you know, and you can't be, you know, if you want to live in delusions in your home and pretend you're this, something you're not, yeah, fair enough, you know, we all do at times, but don't go out there and treat other people like shit, because even if you were this super athlete who was amazing, you shouldn't treat people like shit. And when you're just a joke and you're treating people like shit, it really says a lot about you.